So, Eagles training camp, getting ready for it. We have a little bit to go, but I definitely want to go over the safety position because I feel like between the linebackers and safeties, it's probably going to be the two most exciting positions that we're going to see during all this competition during training camp. And I think there's going to be one mega factor that keeps us away from acquiring a safety through trade. And there has been some news on Budda Baker as of right now. So, yeah, let's get straight into all the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? So it's on a fantastic day. So, yes, I want to go over some news on the Philadelphia Eagles when it comes to the safety position, okay? Now, the Eagles have added a lot of bodies to this position, even really when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and that contract did not go through and we had to let him go and he wouldn't sign here. The Eagles had to go out and add some bodies. Obviously, you're not just adding bodies for competition, but, you need bodies in general just for training camp and joint practices and, kind of go through your 90-man roster and cutting it to 53 in one day in August, which is going to be kind of nuts. So I feel like when you look at the safety position right now, Eagles have had some bodies here. And what is the most realistic thing that could happen? What is, are the Eagles going to wait until training camp, or do you feel like, they'll make something, happen before training camp even starts, or this is most likely a wait and see approach? Because at the end of the day, this is Howie Roseman's roster. He makes the decision. If he thinks the safety position is not strong enough, he will make changes or he will add a bona fide player to this roster. Now, we heard a lot on Budda Baker. Now, Budda Baker, it's been pretty quiet as of like trade stuff, but he is showing up to Arizona Cardinals minicamp. Okay, that was the news that came out yesterday on what was going on with him. Now, with Budda Baker is really interesting because this reminded me of the Zach Ertz situation where, the Eagles were like, hey, Zach Ertz was like, look, I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm not going to hold out. I'm going to be professional, and I will play for what I got to, whenever you're going to trade me, just trade me, and we'll just go through it from there. You know what I mean? So Budda Baker showing up to Arizona mandatory minicamp is a good and a bad thing. A good thing because, he's probably just doing it because he doesn't want to show other teams that, he's being selfish and he's going to hold out and, he was going to be with his teammates. He's going to be with his teammates. He's going to stay in shape, do his thing. And it's a bad thing, too, because, maybe it means that they have worked something out where Budda doesn't want to leave. Obviously, Arizona's going through a lot of changes. You have a quarterback coming off an ACL. You got they have a new head coach. New head coach now, Jonathan Gannon. I almost forgot he was a head coach for a second. We've already had, some players have just wanted to kind of get out of there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to see more from what we're going to get, if a trade is available, and if teams are calling. And I'm telling you right now, this Budda Baker trade would not be, look, I know it's Howie Roseman, but, you're trading for a very, very good player. Very good player. And I understand they did it for A.J. Brown and got nothing for him. I mean, they got, they traded him for literally nothing. They really didn't give up much of anything. But just, Gannon had got some connections here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they work something out. I'm not really sure. But here's the thing, about the safety spot in general. This is going to be the main difference here. Okay, now when you look at this roster, okay, you look at Terrell Edmunds, that was he was the plan B option after Chauncey didn't sign that big contract, okay? Now, I think Terrell Edmunds is a nice stopgap player. He's got, 5 picks in 4 years, whatever it is. And I think he's great against the run. I think he's a good tackler. I think he's, takes good stride. He left the Steelers trying to get a multi-year deal. He was on the verge of getting a multi-year deal from the Steelers and came to Philadelphia for a 1-year deal. Want to be a part of, I think he's coming here for a ring. I think that's what he's trying to do. But I think people want to play with Jalenhurts. People, obviously he's not playing offense, but respecting the quarterback, respecting this defense, and what the potential that it has. You know what I mean? Which I think is great. So Edmunds is just the plan B B option that Howie Roseman had. You know what I mean? That was really it. You got Justin Evans on the roster, and he's been hurt for years. He's been hurt almost every single year. Justin Evans was a second-round pick for Tampa Bay in 2017, and Justin Evans can play nickel as well as safety, which is pretty good. So you have another guy at nickel if you really need him to go there. But, you know, he's just hurt every year. So he was a very cheap signing as well going forward. Reed Blankenship, nice sample size from Reed Blankenship last year. When Chauncey got hurt, he really filled in very, very well. It didn't really help when Maddox got hurt, and then we had Josiah Scott there, and the whole defense was kind of like, you know, on and off at points. But Reed's not a great coverage safety. I think we know that, and I think he's a nice contact safety for us. His tackling is A+. And I've really, you know, this is going to be the first offseason where Reed Blankenship is projected going into an offseason program as a starter, you know. But like I said, it's his job to keep, and it's his job to lose at the end of the day. So I always like, you know, I'm glad they gave this guy a chance, and he really flourished. I mean, he had a good defense around him. So, you know what I mean? But I feel like there is something there with him. But we need to see more, like I said. Keely Ringo, I don't take him off this list at safety because even though he is a cornerback and the Eagles are going to wait 3 years for him to flourish, I don't want to do that. Let him play cornerback. Let him play both. Let him go to safety. You know, he's got that big body. He can run downhill. He got that 4.3 speed. I mean, I could see him as a contact safety in the league. You know what I mean? Give him a chance. And trust me, if you can know corner and safety, the value that you're going to have if injuries happen, or maybe he becomes a better safety in his career. You know what I mean? Bradbury's here for another 3 years. Slade's here for another 2. So, you know, I think possibility-wise, he will get a chance. You know, but as of right now, like I said, you know, this is his rookie year, you know, and you're not going to put too much on a 7th-round pick, whatever he was. You're not going to put too much on him going to this year. But I don't think it's going to phase him. I think the Eagles should just do more with him. So I'm actually really praying on that going forward. Now, going through and then, you know, obviously Kavon Wallace, which I'm not talking about too much because, you know, I think this is the last year of Kavon's contract. And I think that's really it. I mean, he plays special teams maybe for one more year, depending if he makes it, doesn't make it. I don't know. And he made some good plays last year. I give Kavon some credit, made some good plays last year. But, you know, for me, it's just time to go with him after this year. So I'm not really thinking about him too much going into it. Now, I think the biggest difference that is going to shake up, if you're not going to go trade for Budda Baker or anything like that, I think what the Eagles are really banking on right now going into training camp is Sidney Brown. I think Sidney Brown is the banking point of, this is the Red Star player that the scouts for the Eagles were literally like, yep, we got to draft this guy. This guy exemplifies himself on what it is to be a Philadelphia Eagle, on his tape studies, you know, just studying tape, just being very smart. What is he, top 3, top 4 in his conference from Illinois in pass coverage. Gets into the arms of the receiver very well. His Senior Bowl was amazing. I mean, they were putting him up against 4-3 fast wide receivers, deflecting balls, good coverage, big tight ends, very physical. That's the one thing I got to say. When you see Sidney Brown in coverage, this man, he fights for the football. And those 50-50, you know, those 50-50 balls, he really fights his way for it. And I really respect that a lot. Doesn't give up on the play. And I think he could be the biggest shakeup for this defense. Honestly, I think he will have a strong rookie year. If what I can think is what I'm going to think right now, and he's going to explode, I feel like he is the difference maker between the Eagles making a trade. I feel like if Sidney Brown is like, you know, even the last, 2 days of OTAs, and there were beat writers saying, man, this guy is all over the field. They're not in full pads, they're not tackling, but the offense is still running plays, and these defenders still have to get to the person that has the ball, whether it's a running back or receiver. And he was there at every moment. He was in the right place at the right time every single time, and that's what I got to respect about him. That people were actually saying he looks like Budda Baker out there. He at a stop of a dime, this guy could run. This guy's quick. He doesn't get tricked out with movement. He's very he's very good with himself when it comes to his work ethic, and he's got such a great his athletic ability is just off the charts. It's really good, and he's a huge ball hawk, guys. The guy loves getting his hands on the football, which is great. So this is what I'm banking on. If Sidney Brown does not work out, he's a total just horrible, then yeah, I mean, besides Terrell Edmonds is gonna be the next thing I'm gonna hope to that works out here, and Reed Blankenship. If you can at least have Sidney Brown work out more than well, okay, Edmonds plays pretty good and Blankenship's has a pretty strong offseason and plays good this year, you could have a nice, you could be set with at least 2 safeties right now. I mean, Edmonds might, if he plays well this year, he might go somewhere else. He might not sign a long-term deal unless he's a starter here, or Reed Blankenship plays bad, or whatever the case may be with that. But I think it really comes down to Sidney Brown going into this whole thing about trades and Budda Baker and this one and the Titan safety and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like, yeah, there's a lot more that we can really look at here. And I think they added a lot of bodies at this position for a reason. They added one in the draft for a reason. And I think Kelee Ringo as well is another guy that's just, you could do so much more with him. I don't want him to sit and practice with these guys for 3 years, and wait that long to get his chance. I want to see this guy play now. I want to see him compete now and just see what he's got. You know what I mean? If he doesn't have a chance at cornerback, which I know he doesn't, I get it. You're set with Avonte Max. That Avonte Max is a little bit of hurt at times. And you have Bradbury and you have Slay, but these guys are here for another 2 to 3 years. So I would try to do something. Cornerbacks, I'll always try to work these guys at safety. You never know when you're going to need guys like that. So I think that would be a great move for the Eagles. And like I said, this is going to be your difference maker at Sidney Brown of what the Eagles are going to do for trading for a player. Because Budda Baker is not going to be cheap. I mean, I think you're going to have to give up a nice draft pick for him, unless you're going to give up a lot more for that. I don't know. Even during the Super Bowl, I think if you guys didn't know, Budda Baker had a lot of great things to say about Nick Sirianni, and he's the coach. He's the type of coach I'd like to play for. Like, he was talking a lot of great things about him during the Super Bowl. When other players from around the league, they'll go to the Super Bowl and they'll, not at the actual game, but before the Super Bowl happens, they'll have interviews and talk about the teams and the coaches. And Budda Baker had a lot of nice things to say. So you never know what can happen. Like I said, it's a crowd room, but crowd rooms are great because more competition and joint practices and iron sharpens iron with this offense. You got great offensive weapons here to really put these guys to the test, and that's a great thing. You know what I mean? So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Sidney Brown is literally the game changer to, either making a trade for Budda or not making the trade in general? And who do you think your standouts are going to be this year? Who are your starting safeties this year? Give me your depth chart. So I appreciate everybody joining the video today, and thank you so much for all your patience. I didn't put out any videos yesterday, so I do apologize for that. If you guys haven't and lasted this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. It does help out the channel a lot, and we will have more videos on the way when it comes to competition and what I think is going to happen with the Philadelphia Eagles during this offseason program that we're going to finish up in a couple of months, and we'll be ready to go. The season will be swinging in no time. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys are fantastic. And you guys remember, shake squad up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.